Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we talk books, drink booze, and have beards.
All right. As always, I'm Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the ass of the podcast, Derek.
I'm creative consultant Tanya.
I like how she dances every time she does it now.
As though people can see it. But I think they can hear it in her
Absolutely,
in her voice.
100%.
Hear the dance.
because people can hear you when you smile.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on the phone, you're supposed to smile because people can hear you. They can hear you smile.
Well, your first mistake is talking on the phone.
Hey, I try not to, man.
Yeah.
But as soon as my voice goes out at work, people just start calling. I don't know what that's about.
So I don't think you have started using this yet, but the screen your call option from the Google Assistant, holy shit, it's amazing. I get all these rando phone calls, and most of the time I would just ignore them. Now I hit them with that Google Assistant, and she's like, "This person's using the Google Assistant to screen their calls. Please state your name and your business." And most of the people are going to hang up, but sometimes there's someone talking, and it's like, "Hi, your business with the thing." I'm like, "Oh no, honey," and I hit them with the "Don't fucking call me," and my Google Assistant's like, "No, bitch, remove us from your number." It's great. You don't have to. It's like answering the phone without answering the phone.
Yeah. Huh.
It's fabulous. Highly recommend.
So this week, normally, all right, so I tend to come up with most of the topics. I come up with I'd say maybe 60% of the topics, and then when I run out of ideas, I'm like, "Hey guys, let's what ideas y'all got?" And so normally, since I've come up with most of the ideas, I came up with these ideas because I have an answer in mind.
Oh, is this one of the ones that I ain't?
No, I came up with this one.
Oh.
I know I did. And then I was like, well, fuck, man, I ain't got a damn answer. I hit them up this week. I was like, "Hey, guys, so this is the topic for this week, but if we want to skip this one, I understand." And everyone else was like, "No, man, this is a great topic." I'm like, "Oh.
I'm not skipping it."
Okay, so what is the topic? If you could worship any one fictional god, who would it be? And after some thought, there's only one correct answer.
I'm concerned about what you're about to say.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit! What? Oh my god! What? I was not expecting that kind of savagery. What?
Well, broke Tanya.
I'm offended.
That was my joke answer. Trying to get a rise out of folks. Didn't anticipate.
Oh my god!
Didn't anticipate that.
That was brilliant.
Well, hold on. That came from Bob, so obviously it wasn't brilliant.
I was so unprepared for that. It just bowled me right over. I just don't expect that kind of shit from you. It's
fair.
Great.
That's fair. All right. No, so for real though, the correct answer is Cthulhu.
Oh well, yeah. I guess I could see you. I could
It's
see you doing
Cthulhu.
that. Yeah.
You've lost your mind.
No. Well,
Why? Sell me on Lord.
all right. Well, no.
Noodle
All right.
arms.
Let me just say. I want to say this before we really dive into this. Looking it over, I don't really read a lot of books where gods actually play a major role.
Fair.
I went through my Goodreads, looking at all the books I've read, and most of these books, gods aren't really a thing. The Drenai series, no gods. Black Company, no gods. Redwall, no gods. Wheel of Time, no gods. There is a god.
The creator and Shaitan.
Yeah, but
That's it.
yeah. I read an interesting theory that the horse that accompanies them throughout Wheel of Time, Bella, is actually the creator. That's apparently a very popular fan theory because she gets the most screen time of anyone that's not a major character.
Because she's a main character. Just because she's a horse doesn't mean she's not important.
Wow.
Well,
way to be
course.
speciesist.
Well, of course.
She has to. You know what? We're not getting into this. But,
Yeah, but no. So and if
here's my
thing
is
about it.
You like a lot of dark fantasy stuff. If things are super sinister and bleak, and you're not going to have gods out there that can fix things. It's going to be miserable.
Well,
so people aren't going to be terribly
But also,
religious.
I got to thinking about it. A lot of the times, like I have read some stuff that gods play a major role, but a lot of times it's just not gods I would care to worship. Like oh God, why can I not remember the Louis McMaster Bujold books, Paladin of the Chalice, or oh God, I can't even if I can remember. But gods and religion feature heavily in that, but they're just not gods I would care to worship. But for the most part, I got to thinking about it is like most of the time, if I'm not drawn to fantasy where like gods solve problems, I guess.
Right.
You know? And like remember, Derek, when we did the episode of like make your ideal adventurer party, and we had no problem coming up with warriors and thieves, and
we couldn't come up with clerics to save our fucking lives.
And it's the same thing. Like I got to thinking about like really and truly there aren't very many clerics or paladins in fantasy, and so like really and truly like for as much world building is done on gods, really and truly there's very few books that gods play a big role, comparatively speaking. Now there are, don't get me wrong.
This lends itself to us having a discussion off air sometime.
Okay.
Could analyze this because I feel like there's something here.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think it is? Like, because you come to the problem, if gods are so powerful and are so actively involved, if they could you have to find a balancing act of like, well, why don't they just solve the problem?
Why do you even need your protagonist?
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has a shit ton of gods that play. It's all off paper. It's all off scene, though, more or less. Like, technically, Sauron is basically a demigod of sorts. So there's tons of gods there, but they're very hands-off gods. Like, they aren't gods solving problems. So that's why they don't feature in the book.
Well, I feel like there is one series that we've both read some of.
Yeah.
You've read significantly more than I have, in which gods play a very major role.
What do you got?
The Malazan books.
Okay, so Malazan did make my list. Okay, Malazan is on here, but
Malazan.
Yeah, it is Malazan, but I can't
Malazan.
make myself say that.
All right, so let's tackle this. I don't have any good answers. I have 3 shit answers.
Well, I have a good answer.
Okay.
But I don't remember the specifics well enough to tell you names or anything. So
okay. Tanya, you got one?
I got 2.
Okay. Well, I have 3. I have 3 shit answers. I'll do one, Tanya, then Derek, and then we'll come
just
back.
kind of go from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Circling around.
So Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Worshiping him does no good. All worshiping can do is bring upon the end of the world sooner. You know?
Well, isn't that the dream?
Yeah. Well, the dream. Because he lies dreaming in right away. But no, just Cthulhu is arguably the thing I've read about the most where there are, like the Lovecraftian mythos, gods play a role. Now, it's typically an evil, malicious role. Although, to say evil... To ascribe evil intent to a lot of these things is just inaccurate. There's no morality. It's just they kill you or they don't. I mean, you're not worthy of notice to these beings. So do you
think about the morality of an ant when you step on the
exactly.
ant? No, you just step on the ant.
So we are less than ants to Cthulhu. Like So Cthulhu. That was my first and worst choice.
Yeah, but why?
Are we going worst choice to best choice?
I started.
Why would you want to worship Cthulhu then? Is the point?
Well, I think people worship him in hopes that when he inevitably comes, that they will be worthy of notice.
So is that that's where you're coming at this from?
Yeah, hopefully. But if I'm the guy who wakes him up, he's at least he doesn't kill me when he destroys the rest of the world.
No, I mean
it's a gamble. It's a gamble. So, yeah. Tanya, what you got?
Lightsong the Bold and Cesebron from Warbreaker.
I totally forget about Warbreaker.
I really like Lightsong because he doesn't take himself seriously. He doesn't really demand worship. He doesn't demand worship. He doesn't want worship. But he does listen to every single person who wants to come and plead to him. He looks at every single painting. So if you want to worship, he's going to accept it fully, like humor
weirdly,
you.
Though,
But
I don't. Now that I think about it, though, I don't consider them gods.
they do, and they're gods in the book. So
Yeah, but I just I don't know. I haven't read it. Having read it, like they're more like demigods at best.
Yeah, but
Like it's weird. Like when you see how it is, like I don't feel like I feel like there's a power above them that's actually the gods. I feel like they're just
well, the god is
they're more or less
the god
wizards.
itself is breath. That's the god.
Hold on, what are we?
But Light Song and Sisebron, they're the vessels, the only vessels you have.
Yeah.
The embodiment of God. I feel like the breath itself is that greater power. But
my thing is like, what's more important to you in the context of this question, the God or the religion? Because
I was thinking it the religion.
so was I, which is why my answer, which is also a Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. See, I thought like I'm not a religious person, like right as a me, but
that cackle at the beginning of the episode would not include anyone into that.
yeah. So
Damn heretic.
so I was thinking
Right?
like, a religious system that I could get down with, and this breath thing, and particularly Light Song, where he's not, oh, you have to worship me, but like, hey, if you want to, I'm gonna listen. I'll humor you entirely, but I kind of low key think this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But then Sisebron, where fucking ditch that scene where he's just raging through the house and like white everything. Oh, so cool. And plus where he's like a fairly innocent, like normal person. Are you laughing at the tentacle-y thing right there that I talked about?
That's one of the many jokes I could make at your expense.
Yikes.
We'll just go with the
With
tentacle,
that one.
with the tentacles.
Oh no, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, but yeah, I like both Sisebron and Light Song.
Yeah.
So
No,
but like fuck, some of them other gods are real shitty. I want
Yeah, no, I could get behind Light
Light
Song.
Song,
Light
yeah.
Song of the Bold.
That's an amazing name, by the way.
It is.
But I think that's one of the strengths of Sanderson is he's a good name comer upper with her.
Yeah, he's very good at that because they're very important. Now,
Yeah.
for me, the one my answer, and it's the only answer I think that I have, and it's a thing that we've discussed in the past, but now I'm so far removed from the book that I can't remember exactly how it works.
Yeah.
But the religion of Dalinar Kholin and all them from Stormlight Archive,
Yeah.
where they basically
You're not going to worship the fool? I just broke Derek.
Crickets.
so they in these books
I saw his brain reboot real quick.
So in these books, they pick a devotion, and it's like war or poetry or knowledge or something like that. And the way you worship and become closer to divinity and godhood and stuff like that, and is by practicing that thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing religion where it's
I like that. Yeah.
if you like, God is all powerful and stuff like that, but there's facets to it. So it's like if you go for the devotion of literature, then you are devoting yourself to that aspect of him, and you are worshiping anytime you are
Doing that thing.
doing that thing. So then all of your time being like studying stories, writing, analyzing, all is religious, and it's you're showing appreciation to existence
Yeah.
for these things that you love in the world.
Oh, I
so
like
I think
that.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
that's
can get
the
down
one
with
I
that.
would go with.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
Okay. So my second choice, we say Malazan.
Malazan.
That's the most interesting depiction of powers and godliness I've read in a book. I'm pretty sure.
And I'm just going to say it'd be of the entities that I could worship there. Clearly, I'd worship myself. Because the coolest
Croup?
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, Croup. Is he a god? So for those who don't know Malazan, there's this character named Croup that is clearly
something
powerful. It's an entity of some sort, but he rides around on a mule, and the mule is clearly something as
talks
well.
in third person, doesn't he?
Yeah, and they never explain what he is. Like there are all sorts of theories about what Krupp is. But clearly, the coolest thing about Malazan's gods is it's not out of the ordinary to ascend to godhood. So clearly, I would ascend quickly and worship myself.
Yikes.
If not, I don't know. Hood was real badass. I could worship Hood.
I don't fully understand the way their godhood and realms and wards or whatever it was works.
I read 9 books in that series, and I still struggle.
I think it's fucking fascinating.
Oh, correction. I would worship. All right, quick spoiler. Tune out for 20 seconds if you're going to read the Malazan books. Bug is the manservant to T-Hole Bedek, who is the coolest person in that entire series, and Bug is actually the god of the sea. And it acts as his manservant, and it's hilarious and great. All right, spoiler over. So,
you're gonna read those?
Eventually.
Ugh,
God, there's dude. It's been so long since we started reading. I've almost talked myself into going back.
Oh God!
But the ideas are so amazing.
It is. I just want to go through and read like the good parts. Like I just like the chain of dogs. Like I just like there are parts of it that I would love to reread, but there's so much around the stuff I want to reread that's like, oh God. But yeah, Malazan, really cool. And I would totally worship Bug. So, Tanya, what's your second choice?
From A Song of Ice and Fire, the many-faced god.
Oh.
Is also known as the god of death, but it's similar, Derek, to kind of what you were talking about, where all of the things are the same god, basically.
Right.
So for the many-faced god, it's basically whether you are, whatever religion you are, death is the common factor. Everyone dies. Everyone's either worshiping someone who is in charge of the realms of death or keeping you from dying or whatever. So the many-faced god is just there. And so that's I like things where you're not, well, shit, as a child you picked the wrong path and now you're gonna die in eternal damnation. That's dumb. So here it's like you pick your path, but you're all gonna be fine because everyone's gonna die. And
Typo Negative would be proud.
Yeah,
because everything dies.
Everything dies.
It does. Everything dies. But yeah,
including that lead singer.
Yikes!
Oh.
Sadness.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I have to.
Podcast over. I'm gonna go cry.
All right.
Actually, he died like. His anniversary of his death is coming up.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's in
Well,
April.
now I feel a little bad. I was mostly just trying to. I know Bob loves them. And
Yeah.
I've never been. There's that album that has that song on it.
Yeah.
Is the only one of their albums I actually like.
World Coming Down.
Yeah.
Classic.
But yeah, so like, and plus, I kind of feel like it would be fun to be an assassin, and then
because you're a serial killer.
Yeah.
And then you're delivering the gift from the many-faced god.
So that's how you're justifying your serial killer.
I mean,
the first Game of Thrones copycat serial killer. You heard it here first, guys. This is the cutting.
Stab him with the pointy end.
This is the cutting.
Oh, I'm so excited that starts this week.
Oh, how are you gonna watch it?
I don't know how I'm gonna watch it yet.
Wait, this week is in
Sunday.
Okay. What date?
Today is Wednesday.
So
Sunday, the
Gotcha.
14th or
Gotcha.
whatever it is.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
Make me
I don't know.
panic.
I don't know how I'm gonna end up watching it. I'm gonna have to figure out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out. But
Figure
yeah, the
it
many-faced
out.
So
god.
Derek, your second answer is the Fool.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because
I don't
he's
know,
a fool.
Just seems like
Which fool?
the Fool.
The fool from Robin Hobb?
Yeah.
He's. I don't really consider that a religion. Well, it kind of. That's complicated. To me, there's not really a religion around the catalyst. Like, there are, like, not the catalyst, but the prophet. And there is, but I don't know anything about it. Like, I don't know how it.
Are there gods in Midkemia that play?
There are, which is another thing I was going to talk about, because they're pretty hands off because they've had their war and some of them have died and the other ones have kind of like moved on. They have very little interplay with the story.
I don't remember anything about gods.
Yeah, so you did. You just didn't read far enough to know it. Like Macross the Black is the living incarnation of the god of magic.
Okay.
Where the god of magic is dead. And while he's dead, Macross is him.
And I think a part of, like, going back to the initial thing that I was talking about, like, a lot of the fantasy where gods feature heavily is fantasy I don't like fantasy that reads like D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's my problem.
Like all the Forgotten Realms stuff. Oh yeah, that's gods.
All over,
yeah, but I don't read that because I don't like reading D&D fantasy as much as I love D&D and fantasy. I guess it's too much of a good thing. Maybe?
I don't know. I feel like at some point I need to get you to
I need to read the Clerical Quintet. Apparently,
no. I feel like I need to get you to read the Serpent War Saga. Like that's as far as I would necessarily be like. That's where you would.
I started reading it one time. I think
it's really good, especially since that's where you get a little bit more understanding of things. Like Macross was the god of magic, and you can kind of see what's going on outside of things a little bit more.
So so my last pick, I would worship the Unnamed 13th. Which is who Locke Lamora is a cleric.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. That's my best pick. Worship the Unnamed 13th, the god that's not really a god, and be good. So,
I like that. God, that's such a good book.
It is.
Let's see what other. Don, you only had 2 answers.
Right? I only had 2.
Okay. Yeah. So real quick, thinking of that made me think of last week's episode. Rumor mill's stirring that we're getting Winds of Winter this year. That perhaps there's a long chain of events that led someone to believe that George R. R. Martin is finished the book about April 5th.
He listened to our podcast and listened to my passionate pleas.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, Tanya, I'll sit down and finish.
So maybe Winds of Winter this year.
That's cool.
Which, I mean, if he's going to do that, this is the year to capitalize on it. Because once the show's over, I think the fandom's not going to fall apart, but you're going to have people who are only interested because the show.
Well, they're doing more shows though.
Yeah. It's still going to have. You still have to wait for it to come.
True.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But
let's not. So
what other thoughts did you have, Derek?
Well, see, the idea of gods in books is really important. Like. It's interesting because it's cool to have a character of such power in it.
Yeah.
But again, you have to limit them in some way or find some way to justify them not fixing a problem or something like that, which creates a lot of really interesting. Like if you're even a halfway decent storyteller, you can come up with a reason.
Yeah.
For
which
why
I'll say this: the book that kept coming to mind was The War God's Own, which I'm the only one that's read here, but it's a great book. But the premise behind it is this world has humans and they have the Hadrada, which are giant kind of humans, like they're like 7 foot tall. They have kind of like pointy ears, kind of. They're not elves. They're their own thing. Mm-hmm. Well, the god of war picks one of the Hadrada to be his champion, which the Hadrada are like hated. So he's the champion, but like no one believes that the war god would pick a Hadrada to be the champion. So that's a cool interplay. I just wouldn't want to worship this god of war.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the books I kept thinking of, like, well, gods play a heavy role here because gods pick champions and act through them. So
they're not. There's the Draenei books or whatever. They have the what's it called? The group of people.
The 30. But
yeah, they're not. I know they're not. Yeah,
like that. There's the source. Like there aren't gods. There's just the source. And
those guys were super cool.
Yeah, the 30 were awesome. The 30 was who I picked for my cleric choice.
Yeah.
Or one of the 30. So, yeah. I think I said all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I've got nothing
on
else to
this.
contribute
I've
to
run
this.
out
I
of
feel like
my
this
ideas.
is something that I would like to discuss at a later date.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more meat on the bone of just religion in fantasy,
Yeah.
and more like the craft aspects of putting gods in books.
Yeah, that's the thing that I want to
so
talk to you about.
let's put a pin in that, and let's come back to that.
Yeah.
It's Poetry Month. Tanya,
Poetry Month.
lay a poem on us.
This is Be Drunk by Charles Baudelaire.
I like it.
Yeah, thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
You have to always drink. That's all there is to it. That's the only way. So as to not feel the horrible burden of time that breaks your back and bends you to the earth, you have to be continually drunk. But on what? Wine, poetry, or virtue, as you wish, but be drunk. And if sometimes on the steps of a palace, or the green grass in a ditch, in the mournful solitude of your room, you wake again, drunkenness already diminishing or gone, ask the wind, the wave, the star, the bird, the clock, everything that is flying, everything that is groaning, everything that is rolling, everything that is singing, everything that is speaking, ask what time it is, and wind, wave, star, bird, clock will answer you. It's time to be drunk, so as to not be martyred slaves of time. Be drunk, be continually drunk, on wine, on poetry, or on virtue, as you wish.
Nice. It started out kind of real.
I hate that you're making me do this.
Real bleak there for a second. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
God, this is depressing. But then I see where he's
No.
going with it. Yeah. But it's
No.
like, you have to be drunk all the time to get through life.
No, be drunk
Yeah.
on virtue.
But
just
then he,
be drunk on life.
But then he was like, oh, but be drunk on these things.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now.
Be drunk on poetry.
Yeah.
Just always be just intoxicated with life.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, be drunk. It's the only way to get through.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so in the coming week, as the gentle rain of pollen drifts down upon you, may it not inflame your sinuses, and may you pass into the weekend, and may the blessing of the beard be upon you.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Books, Beards, Booze. Our co-hosts are Bob, Derek, and Tanya. Our producer is Bob. For more information, visit our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Follow our social media at Tales by Bob. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. Okay, bye.